This is IGN. This movie is bananas. This is your IGN review of The Monkey by Tom Jorgensen. Stop me if you've heard this before, but horror, that right there is a pretty great genre for exploring trauma. It's a truism that Longlegs writer-director Osgood Perkins elevates with equal measures of nuance and brute force in The Monkey, an explosive, delightfully gory adaptation of the Stephen King short story of the same name. As a film, The Monkey shares much in common with its dastardly namesake. It's got a wonderful, creepy design that belies complex mechanics working many levels beneath the surface. Is it any wonder that this was produced by James Wan, a man who's introduced us to a number of spooky puppets and playthings? A premise as deceptively simple as, if you wind up the monkey, someone brutally dies, leaves a lot of room for error, or for the gnarly kills to be the only things anyone remembers. But from that setup, Perkins builds a multifaceted roller coaster of a midnight movie that elicits as many laughs as shocks or gross-out gags, and succeeds at both animating and skewering the power that death holds over us all. One of the hallmarks of King's horror, and why it's so rich and resonant for so many people, is how he juxtaposes dark subject matter with wholesome iconography. The dynamic invites examination of how and how often darkness and light coexist in everyday life. Perkins has an uncommonly strong grasp on this blend, which acts as the monkey's North Star. Tone is a hard thing to nail down in any genre, but for horror comedies especially, failing to create and maintain a strong voice that serves both genres can be lethal. Perkins honors King's work by keeping the humor and the carnage shoulder to shoulder for the entirety of The Monkey's ripping 98 minutes. The Monkey's centerpiece kills, heralded by calliope music that works like the Jaws theme and the metronomic click of the toy's drumbeat, are frequent, goopy, and constantly entertaining. Perkins wisely doesn't bog the monkey down with much lore about the monkey's origins or its bloodlust, instead letting its deeds speak for themselves. All this graphic mayhem gives the filmmaker ample opportunity to paint his sets with viscera and send body parts flying to all corners of the screen. But Perkins also demonstrates an excellent command of tone throughout these gruesome deaths, and they aren't all punchlines. While some of the kills are played squarely for laughs, a few are truly wrenching and effective reminders of the human stakes of the story. The deaths are usually so violent that they're over in a flash, which not only keeps the monkey humming along, but also reinforces its central notion that life is fragile. You never know when a hibachi knife is going to fly through the air and end it all for you. Perkins keeps the fun going between these creative kills by populating the monkey with a bevy of colorful side characters who keep the movie's absurdist tone at the forefront. Ricky the Town Burnout, a roving gang of girls who bully young Hal, and a bafflingly stoner-coated priest all get standout moments. There's even a full cheerleading squad that celebrates a coroner taking a corpse out of a house. The kooks on the periphery of the Shelburnes' story all have unique voices that appropriately pose the question, what Stephen King book did you walk out of? It was Skeleton Crew, by the way. You'll recognize the grinning little stinker on the cover. The monkey marches to the beat of its own blood-stained drum, and it's an irresistible rhythm to groove to. Osgood Perkins and cast balance the horror and comedy inherent in the movie's silly premise exceptionally well, and the surreal, absurd touches the Longlegs director adds to a world sketched out by Stephen King only help to set it apart from less imaginative, body count-obsessed movies. The evil influence of the titular cursed toy results in blockbuster showcases for fantastic gore effects that, when paired with the film's surprisingly gentle stance on the inevitability of death, affirm how potent horror comedy can be when executed with a strong perspective and a willingness to get weird. The Monkey's IGN score? 9 out of 10. Thanks for listening to IGN. My name is Tony Jackson, and for the latest updates on The Monkey, visit us at IGN.com.
Spoken Layer.